valve at the bottom, couple of decent tie levers, push the derailleur back, pump this one up. So what we need to do is change the gears down into this smallest cog, which is the highest cog, by clicking down on the gears, like so. With this button here, click down, then we deflate the tyre. You can use either a tyre lever or a valve core remover. So what I'm using is a 15mm long socket, available sort of anywhere, to just take the wheel off, undoing the bolt. And then the other side, undoing. So start valve at the bottom, tyre lever at the top, and then gently slide the tyre lever around.
Just like the comment that we're using a plastic.
Yep, just slide the tyre lever.
We're not using a fork and spoon.
Yeah, so these are a couple of decent tyre levers, only cost a couple dollars each. Better than using like a fork or a spoon, because that'll pierce the inner tube inside when you're trying to install a new one. So it's always best to use these, it doesn't create much damage. Then most of it does just come off by hand. Then you spin the wheel, push this side off the rim, like so, then the tyre comes out. Why we use the tyre levers, because it's got this lip. The lip actually holds underneath the tyre, helps you remove the tyre. So now we are just removing the old standard tube. It's just a thin tube, not suited for around here. So we pull that out gently. It should just fall out, literally fall out of the bike. Then we're going to start using one of our thorn resistant tubes, suited for this area because all the thorns and all the glass and everything we have here. So you can tell just by the thickness of that tube. It's a lot thicker at the top, a little bit thinner at the bottom. And then we just pump that up. So what we're doing now is just inflating it just a little bit to get the shape of the tube, just like so. So there's a bit of air in it, just a bit easier to install it. Then we can begin to install the tube into the tyre, just like so. Install it, just like so. The first thing you want to do is get the direction of the tyre correct with the way the wheel spins. It's normally located on the tyre. Just here, there's an arrow saying this way. See, there's an arrow on the tyre that goes forward with the rotation of the wheel. Then you line up the valve and the valve hole on the wheel, like so. You line that up, like so. Then you slowly start putting one side of the tyre on. Normally this is just done by hand. It's normally very easy. You can use a tyre lever if you get stuck. And if the tube itself has got too much air, you can just slightly deflate the tyre and continue to put the tyre on, like so. Then we start at the valve on the other side and just push the tyre on. Normally this is done just by hand. You don't really need tyre levers. Just push on by hand all the way to the end. Then you can use a tyre lever if necessary to put the rest of it on, like so. Then the rest normally goes on by hand. There you go. So we're going to pump this one up. It's normally written on the tyre here. So it says inflate to 350 kPa, which is basically 40 psi. We just use the pump and pump that up. I normally pump it to 20 psi, and then I just physically check. I just check the tyre to make sure the bead is not popping off anywhere. It's all straight around here. Then we continue to just pump that up now to 40 psi. And that's it. Now we proceed to put the wheel back into the bike. So with this one, we just need to back off the brake. So we undo this bolt until it's loose enough so the brakes expand out. Then we put the wheel in to the center of between the chain, top chain and the bottom chain, and putting it on the smallest cog. Normally push the derailleur back, line up the tyre between the brakes, and slide on the wheel. There we go. Then using your spanner, we just continue to tighten that wheel. Do that both sides and it's done. So now we're just going to adjust the brake back to how it was by holding your hand and squeezing the two brake calipers together, and it pulls this lever or this cable through, and then we tighten that nut back up. It's got to be quite tight because it is a brake. You don't want that coming undone when you pull them on. Yep, and the valve cap back on at the end. Then you're done. Sweet. So what we've got here is the wet lube. The wet lube is for the wet season and rainy conditions, muddy conditions, and it stops your chain from rusting. Or if it is a bit rusty, you could put this on. It's a bit heavier. Then we've got the dry lube, better for our dry months and sand, pindan, all that sort of stuff. You do have to apply a lot more regular. So say before every ride, we put this on. If you're going for a long ride, and then you just wipe it off, wipe the excess off when you're done. Just going to demo how to put the lube onto the chain. You just start at the back of the chain, hold it on a 45-degree angle, slowly pedal the bike backwards, applying it to the inner links of the chain until you do one whole rotation. And if the chain is really dry, you'll probably want to do 2 full rotations of that, just like so. And it's oiled. So with the dry lube, we do have to shake the excess wax out of the bottom of the bottle.
So this is the wax lube?
Wax lube, yep. This is a dry, goes on wet and then it dries to a wax. Give that a shake for about 10 seconds and...
So it's applying a wax cover over our chain to help repel the dirt.
Repels the rust and the dirt. So we just, same idea again, we just 45-degree angle and then just apply it while squeezing the bottle, while pedaling the bike, do a full rotation.
Do we have to leave it for a period of time after we do this?
I normally leave it for about 10 minutes just to let it set and get the wax form. And that's all you do. Before every ride, we put that on.